Tuesday, the unimportant people. It's hard to be human. A lot of us were taught in our church stories that part of our work is to become more like God. They forget that God's big revelation in the Christmas story is becoming more human. While my faith has changed drastically over the years, and I have shed so many theological constructs and spiritual practices I once held dear, I have remained rooted in the Christian story for this exact reason. God came into the world as a human. God is with us in our humanity. The stories in Scripture that flesh out Jesus' arrival couldn't point to this more clearly. God, a human being, in all the mess and blood and guts of birth. Parents unwelcomed in all the places they tried to find rest and shelter. A wailing baby boy, born to nobodies with animals bleeding all around. Lowly shepherd kids, the first to know. Unlikely pagan astrologers strangely drawn to come and see this special baby. Over and over again, we see the important people, the people who have things all figured out, the religiously certain, the ones who hold power, with hardened hearts, who fear anything that would make them lose their position. Today, all these years later, the same story is unfolding. The quote-unquote important people are often actively trying to stay separated from others, to remain protected in homogeneous Christian bubbles, working to exclude, protect, hunker down, and make sure they stay comfortable and safe. Meanwhile, the messy, the hurting, the desperate, and the marginalized are sloshing around in the beautiful mess of the upside-down ways of Jesus and illuminating the first line in his Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The Christmas story reminds us that the unimportant people were always at the center of it all. The story was always about turning power on its head, about hope for the unimportant, the humble, open, desperate, and willing. About flesh and blood, mess and glory, pain and suffering, hope and beauty, mercy and weirdness, and how love was and is being born again and again and again in all the unimportant people. Jesus' profound truth about the reign of God continues to rise to the surface against all odds. The last will be first, and the first will be last. If you're on the fringes, feel like you don't belong, and can't seem to catch a break, remember this truth, remember this image, and remember, you're in good company.